YouTube, I've got a major transformation for you guys today, and this actually was a really special cut because this is the last cut that I'm giving my client Andrew here before he moves to Orlando to move on to the next step of his career. So super congratulations to him. Make sure you leave a congratulations in the comment for us here. So we're gonna start this off here, and this is a we're soak down the hair and brush it into the style that you're gonna have. In this case, it's gonna be a nice clean side part, comb over. So I think one of the simpler ways to get into a style like this is if you bring all of the hair over to that side where it starts to blend into the fade. Notice my fingers are tight down there on the fade, but the angle of my fingers is going to continue that angle straight up and down, so we could still have a nice squared off shape for his haircut. Because remember, the fade is important, but the shape of the haircut overall also is super important. So if I can do this to maintain that nice squared up look, it's gonna help me just make sure that everything stays in a good solid shape. We wanna set a solid foundation before we cut the rest of this hair. So we set the barrier on the side to make sure that it has a nice squared up shape. Now, if we go straight down the middle of his head and I take a very small little mohawk shaped section, now I can determine how long am I gonna have this hair. So his hair is quite a bit overgrown and we are gonna trim a good amount off, but he does like to have more than enough hair to be able to style it, right? He likes to have that swooped over style. So I'm gonna trim a mohawk parting all the way down the middle, and you can guess what the next step is gonna be. Now, since I have my border on the side where it blends into the fade, and I have that middle mohawk parting, you could see here, when I pick the hair up on that side, the short point to short point, I'm gonna connect that. The short point on the side that blended into the fade and the short point on the mohawk parting, I can cut out that entire triangle, and that's gonna help me ensure evenness on this. And once you do that side, now I'm gonna do the same on the other. Now here's the difference, is that since it is a disconnected haircut, I don't have a short point on the other side where the part is. That part is just gonna be nice and squared off because I need that to be longer. I need that to be completely disconnected. There's no blend there on that side. But then as you can see, guys, that was really simple. I feel like I did that in 15 chops maybe. Super simple technique to be able to cut the top and to maintain that style. And now, just to ensure for evenness, I'm gonna kind of take a diagonal approach. So I'm gonna cut from a different angle just to make sure that no matter which angle and which part I pull up, it all cuts smooth. And there's no ridges, there's no hills and valleys in the hair. So I'm a big fan of cutting the top before I jump into the fade. It almost feels like I already have a finished picture and I'm working the fade into that. So if I start off balding out here with my Stylecraft Sabers, the black version, I'm gonna make sure that this is gonna be a good medium to high fade. So I'm not gonna have any of the C cup left. So I'm gonna start off right there at the corner and I'm gonna work my way to the back of the head. Now this bald line, I'm gonna wrap it around just a little bit so that way I could see and I could kind of leave a mark of reference. So that way when I come back over here and I hit that corner, I'll be able to follow it and match that line. If you take that bald line and you kind of hook it around the back a little bit, it's gonna save you a lot of time and just help ensure that you get it nice and even from the beginning. So that part is done, and now the goal is to get that nice and smooth, but I don't want it to be smooth, skin tight bald all the way up to that bald line. I need to make sure that it still has a little bit of point of gradient. So you could see I'm only using the single point of the shaver and even cutting down with the grain. I'm tapping down at that area. Right now it may not seem like a huge difference on screen, but if you just leave a little bit of space there that you can have transitioning from fully balded out with the shaver and that trimmer line, it's definitely going to help as far as not having to come back at the end and spend a whole lot of extra time detailing. I highly recommend you start going down with the grain, tapping down at that area that you just shaved down with the trimmers, and then after you get that transition nice and smooth, then you go up against the grain, using both shavers, using the double foil. So just a piece of advice for you. I feel like if you take your time doing this now, it's gonna save you time towards the end of the cut. Efficiency is the name of the game. If I could save you guys just a couple minutes here and there in the beginning of the cut, overall, it's gonna really help you stay efficient, stay on time, and at the end of the day, help you make more money while giving more consistent haircuts. So it's been a minute since you guys seen me bring out the Stylecraft Instinct X, and I'm not gonna lie, I really didn't like it as much the first time that I used it. That's why I went right back to using the regular size Instinct, and it's very refreshing to use it. It still has the same power of the Stylecraft Instinct, but I don't know, maybe it's just the fact, like a little bit of nostalgia. I haven't used it in so long. Coming back to it, you know, a lot of you guys have been asking me to compare the Babyliss FX1 to the Instinct set, and I'm not ready to make that comparison video full on yet, but there's something special about the Vector motor. I feel like it being such a high power motor, it really just helps, and combined with a sharp blade like the Stylecraft Fusion blade, or the Vapor blade, whatever they're calling it these days, I just feel like it cuts straight to the point. I don't think that it's something that is extremely beginner friendly, especially if you have the blade super zero gapped. But man, it just cuts straight to the point, if you know what I mean. It cuts nice and tight, high power, and it's super lightweight too. The thing is that, yeah, the Babyliss FX1 is pretty lightweight, but not in comparison to the Instinct set. So just those are some early thoughts. It's still, you know, they're both great machines. I'm not ready to make that comparison video yet, but it is coming. So as you know, I started off that panel right there. I wanted to start this off. Actually, this system that I'm using is inspired by More Fades, and he's a coworker of mine here at the Headlines Barbershop. I'm gonna make sure to tag his channel below, so that way you guys can check it out. But you know, it's a pretty typical fading system at the beginning. We're gonna go ahead and start off with the lever all the way open, and just make sure that you give yourself enough space to blend. If it's not 3/4 of an inch, I'm gonna give myself a full inch from that bald line, so that way I could really focus on that transition. And once you make that panel real clean, just keep working at it. Go one notch closed and just cut a micrometer underneath that line that you put in. And then same thing, you go another notch closed, and each time you close that lever, you are working farther down and down and down. Then at the end, if you need to, you can definitely go back in with those saber trimmers upside down and kind of break through that line. But just remember, the number one goal, the number one mission right now is to erase that line that we put in with the trimmers. So now that that part of the blend is completely knocked out, here's what we're gonna do different with this step of the fade. Normally, you're gonna go in with your number one guard all the way open. But actually this time, if you start going in with the number one guard all the way closed, that will kind of help you get a higher control of the detail level in this blend. So we're gonna take this all the way around. I'm probably not gonna spread it out as much as the last guideline. I might give myself a good 1/2 inch, because the only thing we're gonna need to blend this out is the half guard, starting open, halfway, and then closed. If you're feeling really comfortable, go halfway first. But that right there is the biggest difference in between your traditional fading methods and using the one that More Fades brought to my attention. So it's been working out pretty good for me. Now, I don't know if I'm not comfortable doing it yet as far as using like low blends or low drop fades, but I do love this method if I'm gonna be doing a straight mid fade or a straight high fade. You know what I mean? Like, if as long as it doesn't have like a low drop to it, I love this method so far. So while I was doing this cut, Sean actually came over and he was like, yo, this step right here, actually, he likes to do first. So in his case, he would go ahead and debulk, and I probably would have as well, but honestly, Andrew's hair on the side was already, it was already kind of at a length that I felt like I could have full control if I went straight in with my guidelines. So right now I'm debulking with a number 4. Normally I do like to have my clients with a little bit more bulk, a little bit more weight on that side of the part, but he likes what he likes. And it also, so here, part of this, check this out. If you split away that little front end of the bangs that are gonna be brushed over, split that little portion away because we have some clearing bulk to do. I'm gonna show you guys what the next step is as far as removing and blending that portion in there. But yeah, if you're gonna have a cut and a style like this, where they like it real tight on the sides and long bangs in the front, you're gonna have to make a little separation there. It will be disconnected at a certain point, but we are also gonna do our best to make sure that it's fully blended. Now, since the hair is a little heavy, the hair is a little wet, you know, going through with that number 4 guard, it didn't catch everything. But if we follow up right here using that clipper over comb method, that's just gonna help you maintain the shape. It's gonna keep it so nice, so crispy. The thing is too that I love using this Annie comb specifically because those teeth, I mean, that's a, honestly, if you're not careful, you could cut a client with the tip of the teeth on this comb. It has a lot of ridges in it, so it just grips the hair really, really well. But it's definitely something that's, you know, like I said, just be aware. They're very sharp teeth, but if you're conscious about how you move with it, it can be an amazing asset on your station. It's the only clipper comb that I have on my station. I should add a link down below. I'm gonna add that to my Amazon links. But so now that we already cleared out the bulk with the number 4, now we're gonna work our way down to that 1 closed, right? So now we got the 4, we got a 3, we got a 2, a 1.5, and a 1 to go. Down fading, right? So here I've got the number 3. Typically I'll go in with this number 3 all the way closed, and I'll do the number 2 closed. Pretty sure that's what I'm gonna do here. I'm not gonna play with the lever again until we get down to that 1.5 guard, right? Because then at that point now you're starting to change the color of the gradients. So now we are down to that 1.5 guard. And like I said, now I'm gonna go ahead and be a little bit more meticulous with my movements. I'm gonna take that 1.5 guard open first. And I'm just slowly gonna kind of scoop away at that area. I'm not really taking it too high. Start open, halfway, and then closed. I'm gonna be chipping away at this because at this point, once you get down to the 1.5 guard and the 1 guard, now you're just playing with color, right? It's not so much about I went up exactly the same length or the same distance with this 1.5 guard. It's more about, hey, now I'm taking the dark spots and I'm slowly, gradually blending those dark spots into the light spots. And we want this thing just to be flawless and blurry at the end, right? So you're gonna start open and then you're gonna go ahead and go closed. And if you see that you left a little dark spot, you're probably gonna have to go open it again. This is the portion that we call lever play. So work with that number 1 guard, with that 1.5 guard open, then halfway. I'll check back in on you when we get to the 1 guard, but just keep on grinding here with this 1.5 guard. Chip away and get it as blurry as possible. It's not gonna be completely blurred out because remember, we put in that line with a 1 close. The only thing that's gonna take that line out is the 1 guard. But for now, we're gonna work with this 1.5. So now we're down to that 1 guard and we're coming down to the last couple steps here of this fade. Obviously we're gonna do a couple things to perfect it and make sure that those bangs are blended in, but check this out, guys. I'm taking this number 1 guard with the lever open, right? Because now we're doing some lever play. I'm gonna do everything I can with the guard open, then I'll do everything I can with the guard halfway closed, and then I'll do everything that I can with the 1 guard closed. So the thing is that when you get to that 1 closed, it should fully match. The blend should be there. And we'll see in a moment if we need to do a little extra detailing. But again, you're playing with the gradients This is a color blending game at this point. So yeah, just keep chipping away at it. And the thing is that once you figure out, okay, I started off with this one guard open, and you consciously, you know how high I went with that at that level. When you go halfway closed, you have to go lower than what you just did with the one guard open. Does that make sense? Like, there's different levels to it. And so like if I go all the way up with a number one guard open, but then I go closed all the way up to that exact same place, there was no point in me doing that one open. Am I right? So, you know, it's just incrementally working your way lower and lower and lower to get the best blur possible. Now check this out. Even though we started this fade with the one guard closed, did not necessarily mean that the one guard close was gonna finish it. I had to go back and use my half guard. Same concept, y'all. I'm gonna take that half guard while it's all the way open, and now I'm probably gonna do a lot more corner work. Look, corner, 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 corner. You can see I'm not really putting the whole blade flat and flush there. Yeah, I'm just taking that corner and I'm trying to just like I said, again, it's a gradients game. So if I see dark spots, I'm gonna attack those dark spots, starting with the lever open, and then little by little work my way lower and lower and lower. So the reason why you have to come back in with that half guard is because if you're really talking about a flawless transition, you have to mesh these different levels. And again, even though the fade is looking really, really good, it's not perfect yet. You know, just, you got to give out the highest quality haircut that you can. And the reason why I want you to be as efficient as possible is so that way you can have that extra 10 minutes at the end of the cut to do this right here. We're picking away at any little dark spot that I see. I've already taken the guard off, using a lot more corner work. So just keep that in mind. Quality is gonna come when you become, well, quality while staying on time is gonna come when you become as efficient as possible to buy yourself that time at the end of the haircut so you can detail, man. This is the kind of stuff that's gonna set you apart and have these clients coming to you for a solid 6, 7, 8 years. My boy Andrew here, he's already been with me 5 years. Trust me, I was not as great of a barber back then as I am now, but the thing is, and even now I'm not great. I'm okay. I just want to share you guys the stuff that has helped me get to the point that I'm at now. And paying attention to detail and just showing your client that you really are giving them your full effort, that goes a long way. And that goes back to the annual customer value gem that I dropped on you guys last week. The thing is that I want to make sure that I'm giving my clients the best possible service every time that they come. I want them to feel, if they go to another barber, he kind of gave me more of a cookie cutter cut. Am I right? That's something that is just so important to me, because look, if I lose a client, I could potentially lose $800, $1,200, $1,500 a year. You got to look at this, guys. Each one of these clients are building blocks that we stack on top of each other to get to that six-figure mark. If you ever want to make $100,000, $130,000, $150,000 being a barber, it's totally possible, but it starts at the foundation, man. Starts at the foundation, great customer service, and that's how you get there. So here's another thing too. Part of that customized service, I'm not just giving him a cookie cutter cut. I told you I like for my clients to have bulk by the part, but that doesn't matter, because what he wants is a nice flush cut. So I take that number 4 guard. Actually, no, in his case it was a 3 guard, and I go with the grain right there on the part. I wouldn't do that on many other customers, but I know he likes that area tight. So that's what I do for him. I give him that specialized custom service that I hope he can get, you know, anywhere else that he goes to get a haircut. But if not, if he doesn't get it, he's gonna remember me, right? If he's back in town, he's gonna come see Tito. A little bit of clipper over comb here, you know, just so I can make sure that all of the hair lays down nice. But notice, you see that straight up and down shape in the back? That's the key right there. I want to make sure that all of this hair is just laying down nice, but it's staying in a nice, solid, squared up shape. Even if he doesn't style it, his hair only has water in it right now. In a minute, we're gonna get into blending that bang. So this is just like the motion that we started off the haircut with. I'm gonna take the hair, I'm gonna style it into place, into his regular style, right? And now that I'm looking at that there, I could see there's a little bit of connection that I need to make. So I'm gonna take my comb now, and I'm gonna do that same motion we did in the very beginning. I'm gonna pull that right up, and I'm gonna clip any excess hair, right? I'm gonna pull that hair back again at that section to make sure that everything stays nice and squared up. And I'm gonna do this over and over and over again as I work my way to the back. Just one more time. You know how they always say you start how you finish? The way that I started this haircut was with this same exact motion. I placed my fade where it needed to be, and now I'm just touching it up just a little bit so I can make sure everything flows perfect. Hit him with a nice sharp edge. Obviously, he's not gonna have an overly done, overly sharp, dark hairline, but I'm gonna give him as crispy of an edge as I possibly can, mainly on that corner, right? He doesn't get the whole baby hairs all the way across the forehead, but you know, he likes me to tighten him up a bit. So I emphasize right there in this corner. I don't wanna push him back. I'm just defining the corner a little bit. And isn't it cool how paying attention in the beginning of the cut, making sure that he had a nice, clean, straight part, makes it look almost like he has a hard part, even though I never in his life have ever cut that line in. Little stuff like that, man. Details matter. So now we're putting those finishing touches on this haircut, clean up the eyebrows, make sure that the edge is nice and crispy. But thank you for running this video with me, and don't forget to use the discount code Tito Cuts if you want anything Gamma, anything Stylecraft related. Look at my client, man, you can just tell he's feeling himself. And then I got the discount code Tito10 with Tomb45 as well. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.